Hey everybody, so Friday, theaters finally reopened back here in Rochester, New York, so I finally found time to go back to the movies, as Tom Cruise so lovingly put it. And on that day, I saw Tenet, the first movie I saw back in theaters after almost 222 days. Was directed by Christopher Nolan and stars John David Washington, Robert Pattinson, Elizabeth Debicki, and Kenneth Branagh. Uh, I think Tenet is the summation of everything that Nolan has done before. Stellar visuals, awesome scores, horrendous sound mixing, dark writing choices, underwritten female characters, and as always, a very, very confusing story that loves to play with time. To me, this movie is comparable to a car. The visuals, presentation, and the score is equivalent to the body of a Lamborghini vehicle. But the story, script, characters, and most of the performances is the motor of a Honda Accord. That being said, I think it's far from a bad movie. I just primarily have a problem with the story. It feels somewhat lackluster and scattershot in a way. Once you race you out of the film and see what has been happening to cause all of these certain events throughout the film, it allows the audience member to figure out what has been going on without the story bold-faced telling you, hey, this character did this, which led to this set piece, which led to this character death, yada yada yada. It slowly unravels over time, and I was constantly telling myself, what the fuck is going on? And not only because of general confusion behind the story, but at times I literally could not decipher what anyone was saying. Brenna's accent is so hard to understand, and Pattinson's isn't better off. But as usual with every Nolan movie, the SFX is cranked up to 11. And yes, it makes the film feel near natural realistic when explosions and things are going off in the background, but it makes it almost impossible to hear key pieces of information that pertain directly to the end of the film. As for the acting, I liked Debicki and Brenna's characters, but it feels as if they were the only two actors or actresses in the film to actually be given motivation, characteristics, and goals to achieve throughout the film. I liked Washington and Pattinson throughout the movie, but the characters felt so lazy and one dimensional, they gave me no reason to feel anything for them, good or bad. But don't get me wrong, I absolutely loved this movie. The set pieces, the opening opera scene, the parts with the plane is mesmerizing, and the final set piece was great. It was just so confusing as to what was actually going on in the actual story and made it hard for me to comprehend. Tenet just makes me wish that Nolan had decided to wait for a better script and story to pair along with the stellar visuals he brought along in the film. Having everything in this movie be practical effects really puzzles my mind and puts me into a mental brain pretzel about how he achieved any of this stuff doing it in forward or reverse. It's genuinely perplexing how they did some of the action set pieces in this movie. I loved it. It was one of the best movies I've seen so far this year. I believe it's third for the overall list of 2020. Uh, there was no other movie that I would have wanted to come back to the theaters with viewing, and I gave Tenet an 87 out of 100.